The consequences of godlessness and secularism are way more damaging than you might think. Now, the podcaster in this episode that I'm about to show you on this J.K. Rowling series tries to do their best to undermine that there actually is damaging repercussions if we do not engage in the culture war. And the biggest one is one that I think is rightfully identified, and that is the Columbine shooting. Because again, she's trying to alienate those Christians who were standing up for the culture war in the 90s and trying to equate them to people today who are standing up for the culture war and saying, shame on you. Now, the reason that that many Christians said that we should fight the culture wars is see what happened at Columbine. Now, our deft journalist here in this podcast series is going to show us why she thinks that is totally flawed. So here's her talking about Columbine and why it really had nothing to do with godless secularism.
Churches across America were told that some students at Columbine had specifically been targeted for their faith. The killers allegedly walked up to these students, asked if they were Christians, and when the answer was yes, they executed them.
When that young man asked Cassie if she believed in God, she boldly said yes.
One of these stories turned into the best-selling book, She Said Yes.
We looked at each other and we said, would I have done that? I might have begged for my life. But she didn't. She may have been 17, but she's probably a better woman than I will ever be.
Interviews with the victims' parents were passed around churches and youth groups.
This confirms and justifies the paranoia that we have, that we are under attack.
Now, just like the broader media story surrounding Columbine, She Said Yes and these stories of martyrs also turned out to be unfounded.
Now, I just have to be really honest with you. I hate the kind of journalism that says unfounded and then never tells you why. If I could do anything through this podcast today, it would be to be very, very aware of people who are couching their ideology in terminology, but never defining it and never defending it. Because the next logical question would be, unfounded how? But of course, that's never talked about. But I can go ahead and tell you that I went and did some sourcing in the media myself, and I didn't use a right-wing source for this. I went to Vox, which is fair to say a pretty far-left source. And according to Vox, and this was done in 2019 about this very thing, they said this: and as the public mourning began to fade and the FBI conducted its investigation, it started to become clear that the story about Bernal, who is one of the girls in particular, was probably falsely reported. It was likely another girl entirely, Val Schooner, who told Klebold, not Harris, that she believed in God before he shot her in the school library. Schur survived. Bernal was also in the library, though further from Klebold, and Harris did find her. But later, eyewitnesses stated that Harris found her cowering under a table, said peekaboo, and then shot her without Bernal uttering a word. So as you see, the podcaster tries to undermine what took place at Columbine. This girl that had the gun pointed at her, and the person said, the shooter said, "Do you believe in God?" And then she said yes, and then he shot her. That didn't happen. Now, that's unfounded according to this podcaster, but according to Vox, it actually did happen. So at the very worst, these God-hating killers did exactly as we were told. It just didn't happen with that specific girl. And at best, the story happened exactly the way we think it did. So unfounded, sorry, don't think so. And the point is this: there are repercussions when Christianity and belief in God are attacked. There are repercussions when we refuse to fight bad ideas, and those casualties are on us. If we sit back and are more concerned with niceness than we are in actually engaging. And the future that you leave for your kids and the generations after them, it's partly up to you and up to me. So I pray that regardless of if it's nice to tell the truth or not, we engage in it with as much ferocity as we possibly can. So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely want to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.